Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I'm your host, Justin D. Morgan, and my T-Rex is feeling just a little bit deflated right now. Let's fix that. If I can find the right button here. No phone? No. Don't want to do that either. Thank you. And there we go. We will. There. Now it's not feeling so deflated. See, he'll plump right back up. All right, let's see here who we have in the chat. Hopefully the chat is not feeling deflated right now. We have Thomas Armstrong. Hi, Thomas. We have Foxhound477. Hi, Foxhound. We have Jesse, I8386SX. Just in time, he says, yes, I was just in time tonight. Because when I start, it is just in time. Let's see here, we have Gut Bomb. Hi, Jason. We have... Gutbomb thinks I forgot to click live, but actually I was making sure the trash was out. Because when you go till midnight or slightly after, the neighbors prefer it when you have the trash out before midnight. Yes, let's see here. We have Retro Tech Chris. Hi, Chris. Yep, that time again. We have Bill Lewis. Didn't we just do this? Well, I was going to do the stream last Thursday. My sinuses were feeling bad, so I postponed it to tonight. But if you're referring to the fact that it feels like I was just streaming Tuesday, I stream 2 nights a week, so yeah, the dinosaur was inflated 2 days ago. Now it's inflated again. Jesse says, I cut myself on a Dallas module on my stream. Ouch. Those Dallas modules can be dangerous. We have Mega. Ahoy, Mega. Kabam says, lol, inflation action. We have Sadmac356 saying meow. Hi, Sadmac. And you know what else we have? Oh, you know it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Justin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes up with these titles anyway?
All right. And what do we have as candidates for Wheel of Regrets tonight? We have... Make sure I click the right thing. All right, we first have this box here from an eBay seller in... let's see here, Orlando, Florida. So hi to all my eBay sellers in Florida, as well as viewers. Now, the reason why I have opened this is because I bought an item from an eBay seller that had 2 nearly identical listings, except for the fact that the listing that had more items in it cost less money than the listing that had less items in it. So go figure eBay math. It's kind of like Target math, except the numbers are even more random. Anyways, what do we have in this package? Yeah, I wanted to make sure that the seller sent me the correct one, like the day it came, which was yesterday. Cupbum's asking, what is the backdrop for that? An empty storage unit? No, that's one of the walls in my basement. That wall is not so empty right now. That's my basement refrigerator is actually to the right of the light switch, but yeah, that is actually one of the basements, one of the walls in my basement. Thomas says, spin faster. I would like to change that animation so that it, like, starts faster than the stock animation I licensed, but then kind of slows down. But I ran into a problem that animation wasn't quite long enough to last the whole time. So if you go back and watch it, you'll realize that when the spinning is finished, I just play it again backwards. And it sort of looks like it's decelerating. Of course, now you know the trick. Oh, well, sorry, I ruined it for you. Yes, we have Wheel of Regrets. Jesse says, cell phone bill math is the definition of random numbers. Yeah. Yeah, cell phone bills, where the dollar amount is made up, but the due date still matters. All right, so what do we have in here? Well, there's probably no sense of hiding what's in here because, well, it does say it's an Ultra X professional PC diagnostic tools. So it comes in this nice carrying case. But inside, we have a smorgasbord of items for testing vintage computers. I've been wanting something like this for a while. Because I remembered when I worked at the computer store, we had a little diagnostic test set. But I think this one's fancier. And we'll see why in a moment. But this is the PhD for Professional Hardware Diagnostics, PCI version. So it comes with, oh, this is going to be great. That Christian Iverson. Hi, Christian. Yeah, Christian says, did someone say smorgasbord? Yes, I did. So, anyways, the cool thing is it has the manual or user's guide here. This kind of gives away at what it is, but anyways, advanced hardware firmware diagnostics card for component and system level testing of PCI bus system. Gutbum says, I love a good sandwich table. And we have, let's see here, Quick Tech Personal Self-Booting PC Diagnostics for Troubleshooting and Maintenance User Guide. We'll have to see if that's in here. We have a, ooh, is this a, ooh, it's a brochure. Cool. I wonder if this has original pricing in it. No, it doesn't, but this is like their product lineup of everything they had. Sort of, in fact, I probably wished I had something like this back in the day when JDMCS stood for Justin D. Morgan Computer Services. But anyways, there we go. Nice brochure of everything they had for sale. Oh, all Ultra X products come with strings attached, and that's a promise. Oh, that's actually clever. Okay, let me zoom in. That's kind of actually clever. We attach strings. Our strings are like lifelines. Your link to all the technical assistance you require to achieve optimal performance from our diagnostic tools. That is actually kind of clever. I like it. They want to make sure you know you'll get support. Okay, that's pretty clever. We'll go through the discs in a moment. All right, let me zoom back out here. We have, all right, so we have a little micro post. So you can attach this to computers that send the post code out of the serial or parallel port. That's actually pretty cool. I know this there are devices like this still available, but this is a vintage one. Copyright 1992-93 Ultra X. Not as fancy as the newer ones, but hey, gets the job done. Hey, and there's a little bit of fun in using vintage diagnostic tools on vintage computers. So we've got the serial and parallel port tester loopbacks. We've got a couple of more of the DB9 serial loopbacks here. Not that I couldn't make these, but hey, they were in the kit. But here is the Pays de Resistances. I'm pretty sure I butchered that French, but so this is the diagnostic card. This thing is like next level. So not only does this have the test firmware on it, so you plug this card in, and I'm pretty sure it boots from the firmware directly into the diagnostics. I mean, there are plenty of gals and the ROM, and there's some, I think that's might be SRAM, and there's a postcode reader and configuration and diagnostic LEDs. I know. The cool thing about this card is, if I read the manual correctly when I glanced at it, this has its own VGA port. So I get the impression, Gutpump says, looks stringy. Sea Turtle says USA. Yeah, I know. They wanted you to know this was made in USA. I have no idea which one of these is the graphics chip, and I hate to rip either of them off to figure it out because the stickers are in such great shape. But anyways, this card has its own VGA port. I think to run the diagnostics, you actually plug a VGA monitor into this port, and the diagnostics are also, it's like running on this card. So one of these might actually be like a system on chip. And I think one's probably the VGA chip. Or it could be an FPGA or something. I don't know. Anyways, this is like a next level diagnostics card. Gutbum says, I like that it says rear of computer, even though it has a keyed PCI edge. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch too. But the reason why I bought this one from the seller, because they gave me an offer, is because this one actually has this card in it. Which, there's no documentation for it in this pack here, but this is the Ultra X Examiner, and I think this is an ISA diagnostic card that works much like that PCI one, where I think you put this card in, and I think the diagnostic is in the ROM. Now, this one doesn't have onboard VGA, so I guess this one expects that at least you have minimal graphics functionality, but I think the diagnostics run on this card. Now, this one I could see, yeah, rear of computer here. I can see that, although then again, the ISA card slot is keyed more or less, but I guess that's so that you can't say, well, you didn't warn me. I cut that annoying divider out between the ISA slot. You didn't warn me that was towards the rear. But anyways. Hey, it's made in USA, so I guess they knew they needed to put some obvious warnings on it. And no, I'm not actually referring to the McDonald's coffee case, because I think the misconception is that the person that got the coffee didn't know the coffee was hot. I've actually watched videos more recently. The actual problem was McDonald's was serving coffee that was way too hot. It was like the coffee was well in excess of what you should serve coffee at for consumption. The water was like nearly boiling when they served it to customers, which coffee shouldn't be that hot. But anyways, you can go watch YouTube videos on that if you're curious about the case, but there's a common misconception, and I, for the longest while, thought, oh, it was someone being clumsy with their coffee. But no, I didn't realize that in reality, McDonald's was serving coffee that was way too hot. Because apparently there is a standard for how hot the maximum you should serve coffee at to a customer. And like, I think it's somewhere like 160 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius right offhand. But McDonald's was actually serving coffee that was like near boiling. It was like 190 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which at that temperature, you can get scalded almost immediately. So yeah, the coffee that she spilled on herself was exceedingly hot, it was hotter than any customer should have expected it to be served at, and she did require skin grafts. So, just a little legal background of sometimes don't listen to everything you read in the news, because sometimes they do get the story wrong or they miss details. And in this case, there was a detail that isn't part of the, we'll call it the urban legend, that the coffee really was too hot. But anyways, that tangent aside, as Jesse says, 190 is great for car engine temperature, not coffee. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mega says if you've seen the photo evidence for the case, it's horrific. I would recommend not going to look at the photo evidence, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I have not gone to look for it, because I don't want, you can't unsee it. But yeah, Foxhound says, that's the way I like my coffee. I like it really hot. Well, it's one thing if you make your own coffee as hot as you want it. It's an entirely different thing if a restaurant serves exceedingly hot coffee. And I guess the lawyers did win the case on that point, that there is a point at which a reasonable customer would no longer expect the coffee to be that hot. So anyways, back to the diagnostic set, which I'm sure you will see in future live streams as I get boards from eBay, the place where I buy the things that I later regret, that I can now thoroughly test. So we have the diagnostic reference disk. For Intel are compatible from 386 to Pentium, 2 Cyrix AMD including MMX technology. Excellent. The RAM stress test. Pretty cool, although I think MIM test may be better these days. But I bet this boots on older systems, so that could still be handy. We got Quick Test Pro 2000, 386 to basically Pentium 2. Quick Tech Professional, 386 to, Pentium 3. Nice. Looks like someone who kept up with their updates owned this set. All right, we got a user's guide. The PCI, the training video. Oh, very nice. Yes, as Gutbum says, especially negligent when they are serving boiling water to people in cars. Yes. Foxhound says, good point. Sadmax says, I'm going to not look up the photo evidence for that. From the description, I've filed it under not suitable for life. Yes, that is a good filing, Sadmac. All right, we have the Ultra X test media. So I think this isn't like the test, but this is the disc that you'd put in your DVD drive to test the DVD drive. That is pretty cool. There's also a CD. So to test your CD-ROM drive. Ooh, Quick Tech Multimedia. Analyze and fine-tune your multimedia PC. Windows 95 or Windows 3.x. Oh, that's neat. And then there we go. And then there's the Quick Tech. I think that's the actual diagnostic CD. So, wow. I think I pretty much have... Now, I've seen higher-end diagnostics. They go for a bit more. But I think for the, like... I don't know. What did I pay for this? The seller sent me an offer, and given everything that was in here, that it looked like a fairly complete diagnostics kit. Because I was looking for one that was vintage. Oh yeah, so with shipping it was $90. But given it's complete, and it looks like I have everything I need to test pretty much at least 386 to Pentium 3. The ISA board may even work in a 286. I don't know, because unfortunately I don't think the manual for that board is in this kit. But yeah, so there we go. A diagnostics tool set. I might actually have to do a live stream where we just check this out and like see how good it is. See if it even works. All right. So now that we've done that, taken a look at that, we do have one more package here. This one comes from an eBay seller in Louisiana. So hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Louisiana. We have this box here. You might have to feign surprise because I think I have given away what's in this box, but just pretend that I haven't given it away. I mean, there is always the chance that this box is full of old carpet squares, so... I mean, I'm sure at some point I'm going to open a package from eBay live on stream, and it's going to contain something that's not even remotely close to what I ordered. I mean, I know I've opened stuff that was broken in transit, but someday I'm going to open something that's like a box of carpet squares. Gutbum says, if that's a VIC-20, if this is a VIC-20, then I'm going to declare bait and switch. Uh-oh. Well, that could be a bad sign. There's a piece of foam in here. Hopefully there's not carpet squares under it. All right. Whew. All right. Thomas Armstrong says, I got a box with old towels and stuff. Okay, I think at least the VIC-20 is not in the box. I mean, you never know when an eBay seller would sell you one computer and then think that, oh, well, this VIC-20's got a keyboard. It must be the same. Thomas Armstrong's guessing an LC. No, it's not an LC. Gutbomb says, I once received a machine wrapped in a bed sheet. I once received a machine not even wrapped in a full wrapping of bubble wrap. It was an LC. Yeah, Mega guessed it. It's a laser. We have a laser 128. Laser, Gutbump says 128 times. Yes. Wow. So, I have to thank Francois for seeing this auction and posting it in the Macintosh Friends Discord. The seller had, I guess, dropped the price to $170. And I took one look at it, and I'm like, I don't need this. But then I took a second look at it, and I'm like, this is probably my only shot at one at a reasonable price. Mega says, my family's first computer was a Laser 486SX/3. I still have it. Nice. So anyways, we have a Laser 128. So this is an Apple II clone. It is, all right, I saw something about the edge connector, but it's fine. That's the expansion port. Because we are actually going to power this up. Because I have heard the Laser 128 uses the same power adapter as the Apple IIc, so I am going to believe everything I read, because multiple places said that. So there we go, the back of the port. At least we have video out. That's the easiest one for me to use. And serial number is 86326. And we got our floppy drive here. No mystery floppies in it. So anyways, because for no other reason than the eBay seller said, probably works, but I have no way of testing it. I mean, I on the one hand, I mean, they could have found a component video cable and plugged it into their TV. On the other hand, they obviously didn't have the power adapter. They probably would have included it. So maybe they couldn't test it. So I'm not going to say that they did test it, it didn't work, and they said it was untested. I'm going to probably go with possibility B, that they didn't have a power adapter and couldn't test it. But I've got an Apple IIc power adapter. And from what I've heard, this uses the same power adapter. I think it's basically a clone of the Apple IIc, more or less. Maybe somewhere between an Apple IIe and an Apple IIc clone. So, I guess, well, without further ado, go big or go home. 3, 2, oh wait, let me change the audio input. There we go, or the video input. All right, so if we get anything on the screen, I can switch to capture. All right, go big or go home. Although I'm already home, so go big or I trip the circuit breaker and the stream ends, because there's no way I'm going to be able to run upstairs and re-trip it in time. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait. Hey, look at that. Ha! Hey! All right. It just powered up. It didn't even beep, although the speakers... Oh, I bet the speaker was turned down. All right, so was it control, open triangle, reset? Or maybe just... Oh, there we go. First try. ROM version 6.0. Wow, I think that's actually the latest ROM for this thing. Let me find my box of floppy disks, which I like to misplace. Oh yeah, looks like I have done a really good job at misplacing them. Okay. Because I was going to boot the computer inspector, but that would require me to find the box of disks. All right. I put them somewhere for safekeeping, and obviously they are safe. Because if I can't use them, I can't format them accidentally. Or something like that. All right, hold a moment. Okay, I'm not sure what I did with the discs. obviously, Huh. Alright. I put them somewhere where I can't find them. Alright. Well. Oh. Hi, Callan. Welcome. Well, the laser 128 just worked. Fired right up. Which I guess goes to show that, in this case, the eBay seller probably didn't test it because they probably didn't have a power adapter for it. So sometimes the seller really can't test it. Now if I could just find the floppy disks so that I don't have to convert my floppy emu to Apple II mode. Because actually I'd kind of like to see if the onboard floppy drive works. I just put my box of floppy disks somewhere weird. Alright, well, I guess we'll probably have to test it more in a later stream, because I don't know what shelf the floppy disk ended up on. Alright, I'll give it one last look. I thought I would have put them somewhere where they would be easy to see. And I thought I put them with the Apple II stuff, but I guess not. All right, I'm stumped. I don't know where I put them. Yeah, the floppy always hides. Yeah, that is for sure. All right, well, the floppy drives are hiding. I don't know where they went. This isn't a laser 128 stream. Oh, but I want to try booting something. You know I do. All right. Let me give it one last look. You know I want to boot this. It's an Apple II clone. You know I want to boot it. Even if it isn't a computer, you know I want to boot it. I normally just like set them right over here, and they're not here. All right. No, I didn't stick them under there. No, they're not sitting under Carmen San Diego. I think Carmen San Diego stole my disc. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh wait. No, of course. All right, this one I was about to give up. I found them. They were under a VIC 20 box. That's always the most logical place to put a Apple II disc is under the outer flap for a Commodore 64 or Commodore VIC 20 box. Foxhound 477 says I will rewatch later on Goodbye, everyone, and have a good night. All right, well, good night, Foxhound 477. All right. Whoop. Is this thing just freaking working? Enhanced Apple IIe with 128K of memory. That, okay. I think the keyboard is a bit touchy. RAM memory test. Some of the keys don't work the greatest. Like spacebar is not the greatest. Keyboard might need a little bit of maintenance. Yeah, working is good. All right, I think escape from main menu. Yeah, that yeah, that seems to be good. All right, I guess we'll run one last thing just to kind of check compatibility. Oh, I thought I had a ProDOS disk. I guess I don't. All right, so will it boot DOS 3.3? Be sure caps lock is down. All right, I'm pretty sure it is. All right, 10, print. 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 Okay, so the keyboard is a bit weird. Maybe it's because it hasn't been used in a while. It mostly mostly works. Go to 10. Run. Okay, so the keyboard is a little weird, but it mostly works. The spacebar doesn't register all the time. Some of the keys double register. But hey, it seems to be working fairly decently now. For the ultimate compatibility test, because it is like, was advertised as like 95% compatible. If it plays Oregon, if it boots into Oregon Trail, then it's a keeper. Okay, we're not going to play Oregon Trail. But, alright, looks like it's working. So, yay! Alright. There we go. The Laser 128. The only clone maker that out-appled the Apple. Because they did what Compaq did. They clean room reverse engineered the ROMs. So, Apple lost when they sued Laser. Because Laser clean room reverse engineered the ROMs. All the other... Oh, I think I see the problem. I think the keyboard is... Okay, so I think the keyboard is... Possibly the mount has broken here. Or something. So we'll... There'll be some work. Probably get the keyboard back into place. Of course, you know, I think maybe I'll just... We'll just take a quick peek under the hood. Why not? I think the XT stuff won't take quite as long as I thought. I think. Anyways, I think to get this open, I just need to remove the outer... Oh, someone's been in here before. Okay. I should have known. Because these two screws are missing. So someone has been in here. Alan says, I've capped all my 2Cs, but they didn't really need it. All the machines I have from that era mostly worked better caps. Now, the keyboards weren't Alps, they were terrible. Yeah, that's for sure. I have found a few Apple II power supplies that were actually starting to get iffy. So, I mean, capacitors won't last forever. And it wasn't all the capacitors. It was just like a few specific ones. I think that might be all the screws holding this together. Because actually... Oh. No, I think there's one. There's a screw there still. Of course, the other thing by... Oh, hi, Jeremy. Welcome. Oh, hold on. I think there's still a... There might be something holding this together. No, Jeremy, it's not the XT version. We're still in Wheel of Regrets. Even if it was the XT version, it's not an IBM XT, so, well... we'd probably still be in Wheel of Regrets. I thought I would take the top cover off, because the keyboard is not mounted on... Oh! Screw fell out of a... I thought I'd removed all the screws, but it's acting like there's... Oh! Ah, there we go. There's one last screw there. There we go. Ooh. That's nice. I was wondering if something was installed. When I saw that this had the latest ROM version, or at least what I think's the latest ROM version, I was thinking it might actually be installed. Jeremy says there's almost always one more screw or bolt. Well, now we're down to clips. Ah. Well, the good news is the RAM card's installed. The bad news is it appears to be populated with 0 RAM. Upgrades. Oh, I see why the keyboard's not flush. It's because there's someone's taken this apart and forgot to put one of the screws back in. Lovely. All right, well, I will have to figure out what screws hold the keyboard in. At least the keyboard doesn't look... The PCB doesn't look broken. I don't know what kind of keyboard it is, though. Yeah, Jeremy says, Justin wins. Yes. Yeah, Francois posted this to a Discord. Like, look at this. Because an eBay seller just dropped the price on it to like $170. So yeah, thanks again, Francois, for tipping the Discord off. So there we go. It's a Laser 128. It has the RAM card installed, but no RAM in it. But I believe this just uses 41 256s. So probably what I need to do is just take I've got some Apple II GS RAM cards, and I think the memory from those RAM cards can go straight into here. And that would give me an extra megabyte of memory. Overall, everything looks good. Don't see any capacitor issues. Got the nice RAM card. That's good. Jeremy says, no memory. I forget what that means. I bet I know why someone took this thing apart. I bet someone took this apart to take the RAM chips out of the memory card. Because I thought with the lasers that had the RAM card installed, Laser always installed another, like, 256K of RAM in the RAM card. I bet someone took it apart to steal the RAM. Keyboard probably still needs service. Some of the switches might need some deoxit. I'll have to probably double check that it's not a foam and foil keyboard, but as late as the Laser is, it's probably just a membrane. I may need to clean the membrane. Or not the membrane, but the PCB contacts. Hopefully that's all it is. and find a screw for this one corner. The mount, I think the screw, the place where the screw goes in is, oh, it's missing. Oh, a couple of the standoffs are broken, so I guess I'll have to I'll have to find some replacement standoffs or design some and glue them in, and then I can replace the missing screws. Okay, so I guess it's not a completely working laser 128, but it's electrically working, and the keyboard problems are probably solvable. So excellent. And I can upgrade the RAM board, because I've got a couple of Apple IIgs RAM cards that I bought 2 years ago. It was from that lot of Apple II cards I bought, and I sold most of the cards from that lot. I've got a SCSI card from that lot. I need to list on eBay, because it's a really weird SCSI card that I really don't feel like trying to figure it out. And it's a SCSI card that doesn't work with the Apple IIgs. I'd prefer to build one of the like GG Labs clones of the card that does work with an Apple IIgs. But anyways, I've some of the cards that were in that lot that I decided not to sell were a couple of the Apple IIgs RAM cards. I think I sold a couple, but I kept a couple so that I had some RAM chips. So I've got RAM chips to put in this, at least partially populate. I'm pretty sure they work. Actually, I've got my Apple IIgs. I put a 8 megabyte card in, so I got a few more RAM chips from that card too. So I've got the RAM that I can upgrade this, and the keyboard problems are probably solvable. At least the keyboard's all here. There's a couple broken standoffs. That's solvable. 3D printing for the win. It powered up. The floppy drive just worked. I mean, you saw it boot Oregon Trail. I would say that this is an excellent eBay bargain. I mean, sure, it's not a Laser 128EX, but I think for what I paid for this, it was a bargain. And thank you again, Francois, if you're listening, for tipping the Discord off, because it let me get one of these unique clones that were the only ones that Apple couldn't get off the market because of that pesky little detail of clean room reverse engineering. Tisk tisk. Yes, in sharp contrast to Computer, which was one of those clones that Apple was going after because they were blatant copies of their ROMs. I mean, even Franklin in the end finally succumbed to their blatant copying in early computers. So Franklin just was on the market as long as they were, because injunctions while court proceedings are in process. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, so there we go. I think that concludes Wheel of Regrets. No regrets tonight. So we got the Ultra X professional PC diagnostic tools. I'll have a live stream at some point where we will actually put this vintage diagnostic set to the test. In fact, I have a 286 board that doesn't post. That would be an excellent board to try that ISA diagnostic card in to see, can we figure out what's wrong with it using a vintage ISA diagnostic card? Worth a shot. I mean, what have I got to lose? But anyways, and then we got the Laser 128. We'll have some fun with this. I might save this one for April Apples. We'll see. Anyway, I guess on with the computer I promised you in the thumbnail. So while I go set the laser and the diagnostic set aside and go grab the IBM XT, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. And also don't forget, oh yeah, there was an announcement I forgot to do. So I am still trying to go to VCF East. Coffee goal is, you can see the goal bar there. Link is in the description. Okay, so update. The good news is I've registered to be a exhibitor. The bad news is by the time I could actually fill the form out and pay the money for the tables, they had filled up all the tables, so I am on the wait list. So I may not be exhibiting. However, I would still like to go to VCF East. There is still the chance that there will be cancellations, and I might get the chance to fill in for someone this year. And also, if I read the instructions correctly, I still had to, submit the money for the tables even though I'm on the wait list. So, presumably, so they knew I was actually sincere in wanting to pay for tables. So, anyway, if they completely flat out reject my application, then I'll get the money back. So I would presume if by the time the show happens, they have no tables open, I would get the $40 back. Also, there was a limit of 2 tables for the wait list, and I did add a note that I would even be willing to take 1 table, although that would be a really tight display. But I was kind of thinking 1 table's better than no tables. But even if I'm just wandering around and meeting and greeting people mobile, well, I would still like to be there. The other good thing is I have booked a motel room, and I did have to pay for half of the room when I booked it. Well, I paid for 1 night. It's a 2-night stay. I had to pay for 1 of the 2 nights. So there's that. I have already spent money to go to VCF East. I am still planning on going. The Go will help me get there. Even if I'm not an exhibitor, I still want to make sure that I can have buttons and stickers to hand out. I don't need to order more stickers. Well, I may order a few more of the flat cap sticker, but I don't need to order any of the standard stickers. I do need to order some extra buttons of some of the unique, some of the fun designs that I'm not just limited to handing out the standard channel buttons. So the VCF East budget goes towards getting there, staying there, and having stuff to hand out, even if I'm not at an exhibitor table. And also will help a little bit with making sure that there are if I need a couple parts to get a few things ready, because the thing is, theoretically, I could get an exhibit table at the last minute. So I do need to make sure I have some things ready to go just in case. So anyways, that helps with all that. Anything I don't spend to get to VCF East will go to the next show that I would like to go to. And that show has actually not been scheduled yet. So I will, I don't know when it is, or if it's going to happen this year. But the next show on my list I would like to go to it's called Boat Fest. It's in Hurricane, West Virginia. No, I did not mispronounce that. Yes, I know it looks like hurricane, but it's hurricane. How West Virginians know if you're a local or a tourist. Anyways, it is a retro computing event. It is on the smaller side, but being in West Virginia is why I would like to go to it. So that is the next event on my list I would like to go to. So anyways, we'll see about that. They haven't even scheduled it yet, so I can't commit to going because I don't know when it is, and I could have a conflict. So anyways, that is the next show on my list. Anything I don't spend for VCF East would help me get there. So, Gutbomb says there is a town in Utah called Hurricane that is pronounced like that too. Interesting. So anyways, all All right, so let me go get the IBM XT. One moment, please. I watch Big Clive too much, apparently. Luckily, when I put computers on the shelf, I knew that I would want to come back to the IBM sooner rather than later, so I didn't bury it under a ton of stuff. There is one more card that I need. Ah, yes. Let me go pull it out of the computer here. Oh, good night, Callan. We'll see you later. Ah, Jesse says, I'm already planning for VCF Midwest. Yes, I suspect I will not be able to go to VCF Midwest this year because I am like 90+% sure I have a work conflict. So, yeah. So thank you, Jesse, for not making me feel bad that I think it will be impossible for me to attend that particular event. That's kind of why even on Tuesday, when some people were suggesting VCF Midwest, I was kind of getting um feeling bad because in fact, actually, I don't think it would have mattered which weekend they'd picked in September. I think there would be a potential for a work conflict that would be certain enough that I would not be able to justify booking anything. So, oh, yes, it is good when you can take time off. However, there are some times when there are just sometimes when I've found that it's probably better to not take multiple days off because of various schedule type things. Which is kind of why I will take vacation days earlier in the year. Therefore, going to VCF East and probably Boat Fest is probably safe. It at least has the benefit of being in West Virginia, and I could go there for a day and it wouldn't be a a hugely impossible thing to do. So it's something that it's close enough, or is close enough to family that I could actually maybe drive up the night before, stay the night with family, and then attend for a day. And there, if necessarily, I'm only taking a day off of work and can be there most of the day and still be there. Whereas for other events, it would be either prohibitively expensive or just not really feasible to go for only a day. I mean, sure, I could go to VCF Midwest for only a day, but that would be a really expensive day because I'd be flying there to and from. So it's kind of one of those, like, yeah, technically you could go to VCF Midwest for a day, but that's not in my budget. I don't like flying that much first of all. And actually, I've never flown commercially, and I still don't like flying that much. I've heard enough from other people that have flown. I know that, yeah, I'll go if I have to, but if I don't have to, no, please not. Anyways, we have the IBM XT. So, yeah, believe me, if I thought it would be possible for me to go to VCF Midwest for a day, but that would break my budget. So, yeah, Jesse says, I get where you're coming from. I don't like flying, and my car has almost 270,000 miles on it. Yeah, I don't like flying, and while my car has, well, not quite half that many miles on it, it's not like I could drive to VCF Midwest and stay only a day. At least with going to West Virginia, I could do a day trip. Granted, I would be tired at the end of the day coming back, but it would at least be doable because I could stay the night with a family member. So there would be that I would not have to book a hotel room. Of course, even if they happened to be out of town that day, and I did have to book a room, I mean, it's Hurricane, West Virginia. We're not talking huge sums of money to book a room. I could probably book something really nice for like 50 or 60 bucks. Or if I spend $100, there's probably like a all you can eat breakfast buffet at the place. It's kind of the what you get for $100 in a place like Hurricane, West Virginia versus what you get for $100 in a place like Chicago. I can't say that for Wall, New Jersey, because for about $100 a night, I've got a decent place. So I won't say where I booked. I mean, if you were wanting to go and wanted to know where folks are booking, so you could look to see where folks are staying or what prices are at, you can ask me privately, but I will decline to say publicly. But yeah, I did book a place. I think it's a little more than $100 a night, but it was cheaper than some places, but at least it's a decent place. So, and they still had rooms, so that was a plus. All right, so for tonight's upgrades, we have the following. And I'm going to have to go grab some my chips, because we're going to plunk a chip in this board. I don't know that I can run a loopback test, because I don't think that software will boot on an XT. But anyways, so right now, my IBM XT, we have the color graphics card. This is the IBM CGA card. It actually... The reason the board is slightly warped is it was in an Emerson PC, and the board was like slightly too short or too long for the case, but whoever owned it jammed it in anyways. So the board is probably permanently warped. It's not a huge bend, but there is a slight bend. It probably will never come back to normal. I would probably have to sell it for less because of the warp. But hey, instead I can put it in this IBM XT that instead of buying a whole XT, I've decided to rebuild it. So, yay! Oh, hi, Mike's Future Retro. Looks like you missed some VCF chat so far. Yes! I'm going to be at VCF East. That was basically what I was saying. I don't know if I'll be exhibiting because I'm on the wait list, but I still want to be there. And if I'm there, even if I'm not at a table, I will make sure I have some stickers and buttons to hand out. So, anyways, yeah, that's my coffee goal is for going to VCF East and making sure I get there and making sure I can replenish some of my stock of stuff I give out so that I can have some of my cool buttons to give out, including making sure I have enough Wheel of Regrets and I bought it on Regret Bay buttons because I know you all, if you all see me there, you're going to want one of those. I want to make sure I order enough of those to hand out because they're like, I think they're about 30 cents a piece. So, but yeah, if I'm not, I thought about for some of the designs selling them really cheaply to defray costs. But if I don't have an exhibit table, I'm probably just going to hand them out. But they do cost money. I order them from one of my friends who makes buttons, and he's got reasonable minimum order, but for the numbers I was going to order, the minimum order quantities, no problem. But I was going to order them from him because his buttons look great. And I think everyone that's received one has liked them. And I want to try to get more of those out this year. So don't worry, if you're not going to be able to be at VCF East, but you still want my buttons or stickers and you don't have them, I am trying to find a way to make sure I can get them in the hands of people that can't be at events I'm at. So don't worry, it just is taking me longer to figure that out. But if I am at an event, I want to make sure I have stuff to hand out, even if I don't have an exhibit table, even if I'm just wandering around. You just look for my flat cap, you say, hey, Justin, and I'll hook you up. Will it play Doom? Actually, it is possible this might play Doom if I'm running fast Doom. It may not look that great, but it might play Doom. And now, my buttons will not play Doom. Unfortunately, they're just printed paper between clear acetate and a metal backing that has a pin on it. So, Thomas Armstrong says googly eye. No, my buttons don't have googly eyes, but you can put googly eyes on the buttons, I guess, if you want. I mean, there's always the chance that if someone comes up with a really cool idea for a button to advertise my YouTube channel, even if you can't, if you've got an idea, you can always send it to me. Yeah, Thomas Armstrong says that JCM guy has them. Yes. That Tom Barber guy has them too. I've got them too, so don't joke about it or you'll find googly eyes in your package. I've got a whole bunch from one of the videos I did where I made it look like Tom Barber sent me a whole box full of googly eyes. I still have plenty from that stash. Anyways, all right, let's get to this XT. I'm still trying to figure out where one of the chips is that I need to try and hear. I think it's in the bottom of the box that's beside me, but we'll find it here shortly. But we got the CGA card. We've got it's a DTK Hexa IO Plus card, which has a real-time clock on it, which I did figure out it uses a 2330 battery. Or no, it's a 20... Yeah, I think it's a 2330 battery. Yeah, the 2430 was too big. The 2330 battery, which I've already installed, it took me buying 3 batteries to find the one that actually fit. So yay for Amazon happily sending you 1 battery at a time as you... Oh, no, the first 2 I found at the hardware store. So it was the 3rd one I had to order from Amazon because the hardware store didn't have 2330s. But anyways, so the card has a floppy controller, 2 serial, a parallel port, and a game port, although one of the serial ports is not populated. However, I have the RS-232 interface chips that need to go in the unpopulated sockets for adding the 2nd serial port, and we're going to install these tonight. And over in a box of parts I got from eBay, I have a, I should have an 8250, which will be good enough to see if the 2nd serial port works. Thomas Armstrong says the 25 round batteries all come from Europe. Yeah, I don't know where the ones I got came from. They were Duracell, I think. Mike's Future Retro is asking, anyone have a suggestion on 3D printers to buy used? I'm looking for functional, easy to learn, nothing that requires rocket science. All right, I'll let the chat go for that. Mike says, well, I love VCF East, but the building front has us spread out. There's no reason why they can't let us put tables up in the Jeep Museum building. Yeah, I know. Honestly, I think they could... I think there's enough space in that building that they seemingly could put more tables up somewhere. I think the problem might be they've got room for tables, but do they have power sources? Because I know for my exhibit, I had to tell them that I needed power. If they came back to me and said, well, we can give you 2 tables, but no power, I probably would have to politely decline. Because my exhibit would kind of be slightly boring without power, especially since the theme of the show is the sound of vintage, or the sound of retro, or something like that. Which kind of implies that they want exhibits to have power so they can be making sounds. All right. Mike's got his hotel booked. Excellent. Christian Iverson says, good old TechSelect. Yes. So I have some TechSelect boards here. So I've got an XTCF Lite. I have a low-tech 1 megabyte RAM board, which you'll see why I bought one of these in a moment. Mike's Future Retro is asking Hurricane Fest. It's actually called Boat Fest. But it is a retro computing event. But they have not scheduled it yet for this year, so I couldn't tell you when it's going to be. And we're going to put this card in there. I swiped it out of the Emerson computer it was in. I don't know why the card edge looks weird. Probably should... I'll clean the card edge off. It looks like there's a little bit of corrosion that got on the card edge. But I swiped this out of one of my Emerson PCs because in that Emerson PC, I've got another sound card to put in it in this one's place because I want to free up a slot in that Emerson PC. So I've got a sound card that has a game port built in, which will let me pull a dedicated game port board out of that PC. Yeah, Mike, I will post info as soon as they update. I don't know that they have a website. They have they'll probably create a Facebook page. So I will post info as soon as I get info. Yeah, Gupom says Sloopy goes to Boat Fest. Oh, that'll be cool. So anyways, I'm going to install my Resound 2 OPL3 board so that my XT can have ad-lib compatible sound. We'll clean that card edge off because something's weird about it. And then we'll have our low-tech 1 megabyte RAM board, which you'll see why I got this. even though it might sound weird that I got this, because you might be looking at this board and thinking, that there's only 256K of RAM on it. But if you know your XT boards, you might actually be looking at this and thinking, Justin, there's already 640K of RAM on that board. Why did you get a 1 megabyte RAM board? And that's where I'm going to say, did you know that you can have upper memory on an XT? Because you can. Mike says, we need to get Gut Bomb to go to the shows. Got to get you past your phobias, buddy. And Gut Bomb's reply is, someone buy me a hazmat suit that looks like one of those Intel bunny suit things, and I'll have my show gimmick. So yeah, I will post info about BoatFest as soon as I find it, because it is a fairly small show. But, well, the way shows grow is word of mouth. Now, I think that there might be at BoatFest it might be a heavier presence of Amiga than at other shows, but I believe it is a show for retro computing. It's not like an Amiga convention. I think it's general overall, but I think there is a lot of Amiga there. But anyways, Mike says, if that's what it takes, we'll get you a suit. Capbomb says, I want a big hamster ball to roll around in. Okay, now I think Gutbomb's going to have 2 show gigs now. All right, so let's Gutbomb says, like American Gladiators. In this corner, we have the random contestant that you've never heard of before and will never hear about since. And in this other corner, we have the Gut Bomb Gladiator and his hamster ball. The goal of this challenge is for you to get from one end of the studio to the other without Gut Bomb running into you at full speed in the hamster ball. And by the way, Gut Bomb gets a head start because, of course, the Gladiator does. Yes, that is probably a Gut Bomb. That is a valid reason to wait until you can go to be able to enjoy it and not overextend yourself in trying. So we all understand, and one day when that obstacle is removed, we hope to be able to find you that Intel bunny suit type hazmat suit so that you can have your show gimmick. We'll even try to embroider it on the back in fancy letters, Gut Bomb or something like that. I don't know why I'm imagining a bowling jersey type stitching on the back. I don't know. Gut Bomb's or that. Gut Bomb's making fun of Intel's slogan, Intel inside, with farts inside. All right, well, we can do that too. If that's what lets you come to the shows, we'll try to find you one. Yeah, Mike says we can label the uniform. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to find something so I can set the card down on and clean it. I thought I had a keyboard box here or something. I just need something to give me a working surface. I want to clean this card edge, and then we'll install cars with NASCAR type sponsorship. All right, let me find a little box or something. I bet I know where the keyboard box went. No, that box is too big. That box has an address label on it. Oh, here we go. It was packing material in a previous Wheel of Regret. now it's a piece of cardboard so I can clean this card edge. Get whatever this weird corrosion is off of it. Cupum says NASCAR mentioned. All right, so let's. So I am using the same deoxit as you see on other famous YouTubers' channels, and I think like those channels. This is not a sponsored product placement because I don't know if deoxit does sponsored product placements. Mike says, driving the blue scuzzy car number 54 is the Northeast Sensation Gut Bomb. Yeah. Oh yeah, you know how you get a wild Eric to show up in the chat? Blue scuzzy, blue scuzzy, blue scuzzy. Also sometimes works for a wild Joe to appear in the chat. Oh, okay. I see. Mike either made the typo or auto incorrect helped. Said Northeast sedation, and then corrected himself sensation. And Jeremy chimes in, or sedation if the reputation warrants it. Cupum says sedation is appropriate. I'm always tired. All right, well, the card edge looks better, and now I suspect that maybe that mark was just maybe uneven wear from card insertion. But it looks like I did get something off of it, so it's possible that the card slot was slightly dirty and it transferred off onto the card. Mike says, well, yeah, say Blue Scuzzy 3 times and Beetlejuice Joe refs. Yeah. So, all right, we'll go ahead and clean this side of the card too. Although, interestingly enough, I'm not really getting anything transferring off this side of the card. Ah, you know, I wonder if that was maybe some flux residue from where the card was assembled. It just got on the card edge connector. Because the interesting thing is, so this is the back side. I didn't really get much off the card, but on the front side, okay, that was the second Q-tip I used, but on the other side of the card, I actually got stuff off the edge connector. I'm wondering if that was just because it is a surface mount components. I'm wondering if that was just flux residue. All right, well, if it was, probably just as well that I went ahead and cleaned it. All right, so the Resound 2 OPL3 card. I am going to put in, I think I will put that in slot 6. Or, no, seems like a good place to put it. All right, I'm going to put the XT CF Lite in slot 5. I don't know. It seems right. And then the 1 MB RAM board I'm going to hold momentarily because I need to double check something. We'll also get to the multi-IO board momentarily as well. But I need to check something before I just simply full send on the RAM board. All right. So, I was looking for a math coprocessor. I think I have one somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is. All right. For booting this XT, I have this compact flash card here where I wrote XT on it. So this should be a copy, more or less. There may be a few things that I changed afterwards, but this should be a copy of what I put on the portable PC before I gave it back to my coworker. So it should have DOS 622. It's got some games. I think I put some utilities on it. But it should be bootable on an XT. And in fact, it should be bootable on an XT-CF Lite. Because, well, that's the card I had in that computer as well. So I will be shocked if it doesn't boot because it was prepared on the portable PC, which is an XT in a portable case. And by portable, reality, luggable would be more accurate. But, well, I mean, even if you have to lug it, portable means you can take it places. And although, as John Gleese showed in the famous commercial for some computer, the IBM XT is portable, although not really conveniently so. Sure, you can ask about that PCB. I don't know why I would need to use it in this computer at the moment, because the power supply works, but yes, it would work in here. You may ask about it. And the chat may give you their feedback. Which will be good. So I will let Jeremy put what he wants in the chat, and while I go find the keyboard I need to plug into this so I can actually do things. Also, I'll go grab the 8250s while I'm at it, and take a quick look to see if I see the thing of... Somewhere I have a thing of chips in an anti-static bag, which I have obviously chosen poorly of a place to put it. All right. All right. So Jeremy says to everyone, have you heard of the voltage blaster? Jeremy says, I've taken the philosophy of that design and expanded on it a lot to create the power injector ISA. Jesse says, sounds like an electric fence. I believe that would be the livestock blaster, Jesse. Or maybe that's the wrong term. Livestock zapper. Jesse says, cattle prod. Yeah. Yeah, this is a product for computers, luckily, not a product for figuring out that you chose poorly on a surface to lean against when you don't realize there was a electric wire running around since you decided to lean on. All right. What I'm looking for in this tub. That might be what I've not been able to find. No, it's not it. Oh, that one of them? No. Oh, Ledger I've been looking for. Okay, so I'm not sure where the IC chips are that I'm looking for, unless they're on this piece of foam that I looked on and didn't see what I was looking for. I'm looking again, and oh wait, there is a V20 processor on that. That's not what I'm looking for. Huh, interesting. All right, I guess I'll have to order one, or probably more than one. I thought I had a little foam thing of ICs in an anti-static bag that I'd stuck some chips on. I wasn't sure if they worked or not, but I thought one of them might be a math coprocessor. Anyways, so let me read what Jeremy put. It's an 8-bit ISA card to connect an AT or an ATX PSU and inject power straight into the ISA slot to bypass some damaged traces on Varda-bombed PC motherboards. Jesse says, I like that kind of voltage blaster. I will still input negative 5 volts DC into the appropriate signal in the motherboard if you use an ATX PSU that doesn't supply the negative 5 volt natively, or it will. Okay. Oh, well, bummer. I was just waiting to see Jeremy come personally inject negative 5 volts into each and every one, but that's an awful lot of traveling for one person. So luckily Jeremy's automating that magical process. All right, so let's fire up the IBM. Hopefully not literally, because it's all been recapped. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, it does help when you turn on your smart outlet. Yes, auto incorrect gets us in all sorts of trouble. Clumsy typos too. All right, there we go. We are counting up the RAM. Don't have a floppy drive attached, so we may get a floppy error. That's fine. The XT IDE should still boot. There we go. I think that's diskette error. So we will resume. There we go. XT IDE. We got snow. Interesting. I don't know why it looks black and white there. Oh, you know, I could plug in the... Hold on. Let me see if I can find the... Oh, there we go. The other end of the cable. Here we go. All right, so... Oh, there we go. The RGB to HDMI sees a CGA signal. I guess at least if we're looking at something... There we go. There we go. So we will use the RGB to HDMI for anything where we're not using composite color. Oh, that's why it was probably looking like it was in black and white. We weren't in a composite color mode. There we go. Nice and sharp and crisp. Starting MS-DOS. All right. What is on this disk? There we go. All right. It's a 256 megabyte disk. That's why it took so long to calculate the space that's free. Or no, it's 128 megabyte. It's actually it's the card I started with and then realized it was so large it was taking forever to calculate the free space. And while I know that it'll take a while because DOS calculates free space when you do a directory, I gave my coworker a smaller card so that it would return faster, because I didn't think they would be installing any significant amounts of extra software, and besides, the card I gave him returns much quicker. So I could at least, it was a time where I thought it was reasonable. All right, so I did want to take a look at the configsys and autoexec bat files, because I wanted to see how I had this configured for the portable PC. All right, so how are we getting upper memory? Well, at the moment we're not, because I don't have the RAM card installed. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything in this computer taking up space in a different place than on the portable PC. Jeremy says the end of his marketing script, the power injector ISA even has provisions for an onboard slider switch and a 2-pin header for an external switch or just a simple shunt. All right. So all right. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't think I have to tell the software where I have upper memory. Or maybe I do. Or it's possible I didn't have it fully configured in this version. Let me double check the copy I have on my streaming computer. It's possible that's an incomplete copy. Because I was editing things on this computer and then copying them to the compact flash card. All right, so let's see here. Open with Notepad. Oh, no, sure enough. Okay, so I don't think I have to configure anything there, so I think the important thing I need to do is see where I have free spaces for upper memory and configure the card accordingly, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we'll press any key to continue. We are going to go to the memory map. All right, so as you might be able to see here, for conventional memory, we have all 640K. So from A0 to A1000 to B800 in hex, there is nothing configured. So we can actually add upper memory in that area. So what I'm going to do on this card is, now this card can only enable in 64K chunks, I believe it is. So we can actually add upper memory in the A1000 64K range. So I need to turn on switch 2.3 on this card, and that will enable upper memory there. And what I'm doing now is not anything you couldn't have done back in the day if you had a board that would support it. I don't know what boards would have supported it back then, but I'm not doing anything that you couldn't have done with a supporting board back then. All right, so from all right, so we can enable the D and E pages as well. So that switches 6 and 7. So that's 192K of upper memory that we can add to the system. And if I were to move the XT IDE ROM, well, actually, I can't really move it because I think it has to be in C1000 or D1000. But anyways, this card now is configured to give me the 3 upper memory blocks that I can with that card. So let's go back to DOS. We're going to type mem. So at the moment, I have 577K of conventional memory free, and there is no upper memory. So now I am going to turn the computer off. I am going to install this RAM upgrade card, which will give me 192K of extra memory. In fact, I'd almost be tempted to put this one in slot 8, but I think slot 8 has performance penalties. And we will turn the computer back on. Now, the thing is, the XT is not going to show any extra memory on this count, because it doesn't know anything about upper memory. So we will not see any extra memory count up here. Now, if I had a 256K system board, I could have used this card to also go up to 640K of conventional memory. So there we go. And interesting. And it's... Oh, you know, I was getting suspicious that there was probably something extra I needed to do. All right. Oh, that's right. Oh, interesting. Oh, maybe I don't have the... I may not have the driver configured. Let me check something here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the non-configured drive. Haha. Okay. Hold, please. That's the... I don't think I configured that driver. I've got the copy that's actually configured on my computer here. You actually have to use debug to modify the driver. it's such a simple driver. It it would probably complicate it to actually do command line parsing. So instead, you use the debug command to like change the binary to tell it where to use what to use for upper memory. I'm pretty sure that this driver is configured for the same ranges that I'm using. So anyways, let's see if it doesn't pick up some upper memory here. That's weird. Okay. Can I not plug it in all the way? Oh, maybe I didn't hit F1. Maybe I hit the wrong key. No, that's weird. I was for sure that. All right, let's look at this. So, DOS equals UMB. Oh! Well, that's right. I must use this board on a... I forgot to look. That's why it's not working. Okay, it is possible that the driver file didn't have the mod in it. The one on my computer did, so... I would explain why it wasn't printing anything out. Because I was pretty sure that those utilities had banners. There we go. So, look at that. We freed up a little bit of conventional memory, and we've got some of DOS in upper memory. And in fact, actually, probably if I'd go to autoexec.bat, I probably modified it to only load thing, or I probably could add some load highs, and that might free up some more conventional memory. Or not. Okay, but look at that. I mean, I got a little extra conventional memory, and if I needed to load a few more drivers, then those can be loaded high as well. So, excellent. Also, I think my sound card should just work. Wait a minute. I think I put the games batch. Oh, no. Oh. That's weird. Okay, there's all the games I had installed. Oh, okay. I didn't CD ... and I think I called it menu, not games. Okay. Let's go check to make sure my sound card's working, and then we'll tackle the next thing. Oh, CD ... All right. I think I call it menu. No. What did I call it? Oh, game menu. All right, so we will go to G, because I know it supports AdLib. Now, I actually have the registered copy, but I think because this is a copy of what I gave my coworker, this is going to be the shareware version. So we will actually run this in CGA Composite, so I'll change inputs, and we should be able to run AdLib. All right, we have AdLib sound. So that's good. I think there might be a few other games that have AdLib sound as well. So excellent. We got the AdLib, we got the XT IDE. Let's try to upgrade this multi-IO card. And then I'm going to see if Checkit has loopbacks, because I'll plug in the loopback. I suspect the loopbacks for Checkit are going to be the same as other loopbacks. I'll try the loopbacks I just got from eBay. Why is this card stuck in the slot? Holding it in. Oh. I don't know. Alright, so let's take a look at this card. It'll be hard to get it on frame. I'll have to find where I put the driver for this card. We'll try to set the time. But anyways, you can actually still get 1488 and 1489 chips. Yeah, still makes them, because there's still equipment that uses RS-232. So you can actually still get 1488 and 1489 chips brand new. I was actually going to buy some new old stock ones from eBay, a place where I buy the things I later regret, because I bought the card from eBay. But then I ordered from Mouser before, earlier than I thought it was, and I decided, I'll check Mouser and see if they have these chips still. And yeah, it's the SN75188 is Texas Instruments part number, but that is basically a 1488. I think the 1488 is Motorola's part number, but the 75188 is Texas Instruments pin compatible part and function compatible too. My chat sometimes goes dead at right after 11 o'clock, and I don't know why. Probably people multitasking, so yeah. Things I've learned to not worry about. But at least thank you, Jeremy, for confirming that YouTube chat is still working. Because it has happened before where the chat was active and my view of it was broken, but it's just kind of the... Jesse says we're old, yeah. All right, and then the SN75 189, I believe, is the part that is the compatible part for the 1489. So there's that. And now I have a box full of chips that I bought from eBay that I thought were a lot of keyboard encoders, but I think I realized they were not many keyboard encoders and more of other chips. So I have like way more serial chips than I know what to do with. But what I'm going to do, because I think I have enough of them to do this, I'm going to find a UM8250B. I'm going to find a matching chip, because I think I have one. Right here. The UM8250B. 8915's the date code. 8737. Well, okay, that's going to be close enough. Okay, so someone upgraded after a little bit of ownership. And Jeremy says, not yet, Sonny. Jesse laughs. All right. Let's see if this chip will go into the socket neatly. And the answer is not really. That chip insertion felt awful. I am going to remove it and try again. My pin straighteners didn't do a great job of... So some of these chips, just by virtue of the way they were shipped, the legs are like slightly bent out in weird angles. So I'm going to use my non-knurled needle nose pliers to apply a bit more force to the pin straightening. And I'm going to put it back in the pin straightener. Jeremy says, reminds me, I was at a local to me Walmart and I spotted a date code on their on-branded, quote, gaming keyboards. The oldest one there had a date code of 2108. That would probably be 2021 week 8. Or possibly August of 2021. I doubt that is any older, but wow, if they've still got one of those after that long, that's a really fast-moving part. It's flying off the shelves. Or that's the one that keeps getting pushed to the back every time they restock and the newer keyboards are selling. Yeah, Jeremy says, which means that keyboard was there for 3 years. Well, you know, my thoughts about an on-branded keyboard, off. off my desk-y keyboard that's trying too hard to be a gaming, quote, gaming keyboard. Alright. Well, I got a couple more of these UMC chips if this first one proves to be a dud. But I'm going to think positively that these chips all work and will work the first time and we'll have no problems with them. And who am I trying to fool? Alright. We will have 2 serial ports. And there we go. Well, we didn't have the we didn't have an explosion, so that's good. We'll, well, the serial driver chip I just installed is not getting hot, so it's not internally shorted. We'll see if Check-It sees it. All right. Jeremy says, I've had a couple of those keyboards. One of them was made without the numpad, the blue Altimu switches in it are actually decent. Oh, well, I mean, okay, so it looks like, okay, well, the COM ports are both using an IRQ, so that's good. That is at least a sign that the board is using an IRQ. Is there an external loopback connector attached to serial port COM1? All right. Well, let's see if these loopback connectors in this kit will work with Check-It. Because I think loopback connectors are pretty much a generic item. There's not really many ways you can loop back a serial port, so... Alright, so we'll plug... I don't know which one is COM1, so I will plug a loopback into both COM ports, and I'm going to say yes. Oh, I wonder if, that's cool. Okay, cool. COM1 works. Alright, let's try COM2. And there is a loopback on COM2 as well. Wah, 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 wah. I believe that chip is, well, we'll look at the card to make sure that if COM2 is this 25-pin connector, it is possible the 25-pin loopback is not compatible with Check-It. If that's the case, I will see if I have a 9-pin connector so I can use the same loopback as worked with COM1. But I'll have to look at the card to see if I can tell which one's COM1 and which one's COM2. I have a feeling COM1 is the one that's on the card, but they are not labeled. Oh, wait a minute. That could be a problem. That would also... Okay. It is possible that it still works. I realized the serial port header cable was on backwards. I did not catch that earlier. So it probably really was failing because the cable was on backwards. So let's plug the same loop back into COM2 and we'll run check it again. Yeah, Jeremy says COM1 will at least let a mouse work. Yep, that is true. But I want to get COM2 working because you never know when I need to summon Joe by alternate means, aka a modem. All right. But yes, and I've got upper memory, so I can load the mouse driver high. So 601 errors, floppy drive. I don't have a floppy drive connected. It's nothing to worry about. It's just quicker to dismiss it than to try to hook something up. All right. So serial ports, COM2, and there is a loop back. Interesting. All right, so the cable being on backwards was not the problem. All right. Well, it is quite possible that that box of chips I buy from eBay is more dead chips than... Yeah, COM2 appears to be dead, but COM2 is... COM2 is this chip, which I just put on here tonight, and I have no way of pre-testing it, so we're going to try another UART chip. I don't have a way to test them other than... I'm going to presume that some of the chips I bought in the lot of chips on eBay that I admittedly spent too much on, and yeah, I suspect that there's a bunch of duds in that box, but all right. So we'll try that. I mean, it is possible there's a jumper I need to change, and I don't have documentation for this board. If that doesn't work, I will see if I've got a 9-pin header. But the thing is, the register test failed, so Jeremy, it's not like there's a tester for UARTs. Or if there is, I don't have it. I mean, the retro chip tester might be able to test a UART, but I don't have a retro chip tester. So yeah, the only way to test them that I know of is to actually put them in a circuit that's actually going to try to use them. And the only thing I have handy that can use these 8250s is this board. So I don't think I've got a controller card with a removable UART. Oh. Oh, Jeremy was offering an ending to my original statement. Okay, yeah. Well, then I regret my last statement, probably. I'm starting to regret my eBay purchase, too. If this fails, if the data register test fails, then I'm thinking the UART might be bad. But if loopback stuff fails, then it could be this loopback's wrong for a... Oh, it's waiting for me to tell it yes. Do I ever regret my eBay sales to other people? Well, there are times where I regret selling things, yeah. It's usually not right away. Alright. Oh, this UART also doesn't seem to work. Hexa IO Plus card. I mean, there are jumpers on this board. Is it possible? Alright. Let me double check. Although, given where I got these chips, it's not surprising that I could have a number of bad chips. Um... Well, that doesn't look like the same card. Alright, hold please. Let's see here. AP... Yeah, I'm trying to double check jumpers, but I don't think I got the right jumper chart in front of me. Looks like you can enable and disable the parallel port. And you can change the address selection. Okay, I'm inclined to believe that UART is bad. Only because I think the register test is referring to registers on the chip, so I'm pretty sure if that fails, the UART is not going to work. Now, if the loopbacks fail, then I think, but the register test passes, that's when I will suspect that the problem is I've got this loopback plug is not compatible. Because while a 9-pin serial, there's not much you can loop back. I could see a 25-pin serial. I could see loopback plugs differing from product to product because there are more signals potentially available. But then again, though, I think most products for PCs, though, still only expect you're going to have the, like, the minimum of signals connected. Alright, so let's try... Well, the third time be the charm. Alright. So, Amazon put these paint markers on sale at some point. I had them on my watch list. So I've got multiple colors of them now. So now I actually have a red one. So I can actually draw red X's on bad chips. Jeremy says, that UART has the privilege of being filed in number 13 in the near future. Yeah. I cannot type. Yes, in fact, I might drag file 13 over here. I might also 86 it. And note, that is 86ing it, not like 86ing it. Okay. If I had a serial card that had removable UARTs, or if the UART for COM1 wasn't soldered, I mean, if I could move it to COM2's position, I would have already swapped it just to confirm, because we've tested it's good, but I do not have a... Well, it's soldered, and I'm not going to desolder it, because, well, that could cause it to stop working. All right. I guess let me grab another UART, and maybe this time I'll grab a... maybe I'll grab a... here's an SIS 82C450 from 1990. That's a good candidate. Oh, here's a ceramic one. It's a WD 8250. Ceramic. Oh, we might try that one. Let's pull a couple more random ones to put in my we can try these pile. I think it's probably a Me Too attempt at something like the 6-pack plus card. Yes, it's got like a parallel, 2 serial, a game port, a real-time clock, and a floppy controller. Which I think is... Oh, here we go. We got a Gold Star 16C450. We'll try that one. I think the 16450s are pin compatible. And here we go, a Micronic 16C450. All right. So we'll try the Micronics one because it's the first one I grabbed. Jeremy says not an LG. Well, I mean, just because it's an LG chip doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. Oh, I don't think I grabbed the LG chip. Although there was one in the pile. I'm going to start with the Micronics one. Only because it's the first one I picked off the pile, not because I have any knowledge of what's good or bad. I haven't tested any of these chips. So you are seeing a live test of all of these chips and seeing how bad eBay lots of chips can be. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. Yes, LG stands for Lucky Gold Star. All right. All right, so there we go. Another attempt. If I keep having trouble, I'll actually plug a I think I have an LED thing. Like adds LEDs when comm traffic goes across, but I think if the register test fails, it's a dead chip. Okay, I'm getting really... Need a register. Okay, I mean, sure, I could have a whole pile of... It is quite possible that... Oh, here we go. The RetroWeb has the jumper settings for this card. Alright. Ah, and the diagram actually looks more correct than the other source. So, JP1 is for clock enabled. Well, that's clock. Oh, game port, printer. Alright, well. Alright, let's, Alright, so when I pull this card out this time, I'm going to double check the jumpers again, but this time using a chart that looks correct. The thing is, it looks like you can't disable the COM port, but you can change its address selection, and I just want to make sure that it's... Alright, so COM1 is set for 3F8. For serial port 1 is set to 3F8. And serial port 2 is set to... Wait a minute. Doesn't make sense. I'm reading the jumper settings right. By golly, I think, well, that could explain the problem. If this jumper chart is correct, then both of these COM ports were set for COM 1. That's going to cause problems. Because it looks like for the first COM port, if you set pins 1 and 2, 5, and 6, you get COM 1. 2 and 3, 4, and 5 is COM 2. But for the serial port 2, COM 1 is 2 and 3, 4, and 5, and COM 2 is 1 and 2, 5, and 6. Alright, well, I guess we'll try that same UART. Possible the problem was user error. I had just assumed that, sort of assumed the card was, yeah, Jeremy says error conflict. Yeah. Well, although the weird thing is the first COM port tested fine with the conflict, so weird. Jeremy says the failure seems to be consistent. Christian says, is that some sort of RTC combo card? Not often you see batteries on ISA cards. Yes. It's basically I think DTK's version of the AST 6-pack plus or something like that. Yeah, it's got a real-time clock on it. I'll eventually install the driver. We're not going to get there tonight, but because I'm going through UARTs like they're bad chips from eBay. But it might have been the card was misconfigured. So actually, now that I've reconfigured the serial ports, I'm thinking I will test COM 1 again to make sure COM 1 is still working. That does seem like a logical check. All right. Let's see if the system sees COM ports. Yeah, it does seem to see them still. All right. Serial ports. I'm going to test COM 1 again. Just to make sure it still tests. Okay. So my jumper changes did not affect COM 1. That's good. And yes, I will I'll test the parallel port too, but Jeremy says it seems like more bad chips from PCB scrappers. Sadly, yes. It does seem as if it's bad chips from PCB scrappers and they hid their dirty work by not admitting to what they had. All right, let me see if I've got a non-pin header. Probably do. It's just a matter of where did I put it. Let me see if I kind of see one. Because I'm curious if I use a 9-pin loop back. I have a loop back plug and it's plugged in, but it's not a Check-It brand one. So there is a possibility that the loopback plug is the problem, but the fact that the data register test is failing kind of tells me it might be the UART chip. Jeremy says, COM2 outputting a terminate command. Where do you see that? Almost, I mean, though some of this is almost acting like there's no loopback plug present. All right, let me see if I can find a 9-pin header, because it is quite possible that maybe the problem is the 25-pin loopback adapter I have just does not work with check it. But I know the 9-pin one does because we just used it. Maybe all these tests need the loopback to be working. I know I've got a 9-pin header somewhere that's not in a PC hopelessly secured. Just gotta remember where I put it. Oh, there we go. Aha. Now, is this one correct for the board? Well, we'll know in a moment. All right. So I have put a 9-pin header, just a standard 9-pin header there. All right. We will try the serial port test again. Well, oh. Thank you, Check-It, for telling me the obvious. I mean, Check-It does see the COM port. Hold on, I got... IBM. Well, that was not it. Okay. Jeremy, the output box says T. That is for the ASCII letter T. That's not for terminate. That's the ASCII letter T. And I can show you that with COM1, what that output box is doing. So you will see when it gets down to the test different baud rates, you will see why there was a T in the output box. It was trying to output the T of testing, and it got nothing back. That was not a terminate command. That's what it should have done. So I think this UART is also bad. I think we'll also be looking to see. So, all right. I'm going to assume for the moment, now that I've tried a 9-pin header, I am going to assume for a moment the problem is, yeah. Christian says, just not a borked output driver. There ought to be TTL to serial voltage level converters on it. Christian, I pulled 2 brand new out of the package chips that I ordered from Mouser that are the 1488 and 1489. They are brand new TI chips, 75 188 and a 75 189. I am going to presume, I don't have a way of testing them, but I am going to presume that brand new chips from TI are working. Because they came from Mauser and not like Chinese pull specials. Thomas Armstrong says, what kind of UART? Well, this one was a 16C450, which is pin compatible with an 8250. The last three I tried were 8250s. Yeah. Christy says, sorry, no need to apologize. We're all multitasking these days, and yeah, Christian agrees. That would be weird for them to be bored. Yeah. So those are brand new chips from Mauser. I mean, I don't have a tester that can test them, but I'm going to say that for the moment, it would be weird for those to be failed from the factory. I mean, it wouldn't be without precedent, but generally, I have good results with TI chips straight from the factory. So I'm going to presume that these are also just fine. Okay, so this is an 8250. Oh, hey, John, welcome. I am trying to find a good UART chip from a box of eBay pulls, and so far we are -4 for 0. As in, I have 4 chips with red X's drawn on them. They appear to be bad chips, and I'm suspecting that I bought what might actually be a scrapper's chip pull, that they were just pulling chips from scrapped boards, and quite honestly, I'm kind of wondering if I bought someone's. We saved all the bad chips that we pulled off of boards and then sold them on eBay as spare parts. Red X of Doom. No, it's the red X of its Basura. It's the red X of it's getting 86th. It's the red X of file 13 it. It's the, okay, yeah, I'm sure you get the idea. It's not even going in my suspect chip. Well, it might. Well, actually, I would fill it up, probably. Test interrupt enable, test interrupt ID, test line status. Fails are all identical. Yeah, I know. They're all identical. Thomas Armstrong says, did you get national brand 8250? Why so specific? They should, I mean, there probably are some national brand ones, but I don't. Unfortunately, Jeremy, I know what you're implying, that all these chips are failing for the same reason, but if this is someone's eBay box of garbage, then I could totally see them all failing for the same reason. Jeremy says, I wouldn't fault the chips completely if the failures are all the exact same. Well, Jeremy, if I bought someone's box of garbage, the failures could be all the same. If these are like someone's... Short of me having something else I can put these chips in to independently verify them, I have to assume that the chips are bad. Yeah, I've got some national brand ones. I mean, yeah, at some point I'm going to get really suspicious, but I mean, I mean, it is really suspicious that they're all the same. But then again, Jeremy, the thing is, if the if the chip is not externally transmitting data, then any of the tests that are using the loopback are going to fail the exact same way. I'm not ordering UARTs from Quebec until I run out of UARTs from some other foreign country that I don't remember right offhand, but it would appear as if they're... I mean, I realize, yes, at some point I'm going to have to say there's something else going on, but the thing is, if they're garbage chips, what's to say that if they're all garbage chips? I mean, I'm struggling to try to figure out. I don't have another serial card that takes these chips. I also know if I bought someone's box of garbage, then I could have a whole bunch of chips that fail for the same reason. I mean, how do I know that the seller didn't like walk across a shag carpet while holding all the chips in their hands? I mean, yeah, at some... Oh, well, it's midnight, so it's about to be a moot point that they're all failing the same. Jeremy says, I'm only approaching this just as Adrian Black and the Car Wizard would. I'm not Adrian Black. I'm not the Car Wizard. I have a box of UARTs that are untested, and ultimately I have to test them at some point. And technically, I'm not throwing the parts cannon at them. That would imply that I'm swapping different chips. Like, all sorts of different chips. I mean, I know. Maybe there's something else going on here. I don't have another serial card that can take UARTs. Are they CMOS parts? I don't know if they're CMOS parts, Thomas. They probably are CMOS parts. Most of them are like late 90s or late 80s, early 90s. I mean, there are some that are probably not CMOS parts. And I know, Jeremy, maybe I should be taking an oscilloscope to these boards, but it's midnight. I don't really want to spend any more time debugging these tonight. I'll probably have to... I'm going to have to... I mean, I still don't know that this loopback tester really works with... What I really need is a serial card that I can put these UARTs in that I know... I know, Jeremy, you didn't mean tonight. But the thing is, I'm not... I take troubleshooting... I take a different approach to troubleshooting than other YouTubers. I know Adrian Black likes to poke and prod and troubleshoot, but I am not opposed to going to a troubleshooting guide that gives you a list of chips to check and pulling them and testing them. I'm also, when given a box of parts that I don't know where the seller got them, when they got them, how they got them, why they got them, what they did with them, what their career is, what their side hobbies are, and what their motivation was for selling a box of 160 some dip chips that all looked like multi-pin parts. I could have bought a box of garbage, Jeremy. So every one of these, for all I know, I bought someone's reject pile where they bought 10 times as many boards, pulled the chips, tested the UART chips, and the failed ones went in a box. And this could be a common failure mode for a UART chip. I mean, I don't know that. Granted, though, the fact that I've gone through 5 UART chips and they've all failed the same is really getting suspicious. But in reality, the thing is, I could have an eBay seller's box of garbage. And I had there's like 40 UART chips in the box. So I've only Thomas Armstrong says UARTs are tough parts. The 1488, 1489 should give its life. Well, I mean, that is true, Thomas, but the thing is, I don't know how these chips were stored after they were pulled from the board. I mean, yeah, in normal operation, those transceiver chips should have probably taken the brunt of whatever happened on the external port. But the thing is, after they're pulled from the board, there's no 1488 and 1489 to protect the chip. I don't know. Did I acetone them? No, I didn't acetone them. I haven't acetoned them. These are... I can look at these chips, and the thing is, these... I can tell just by looking at these chips that these are actual original chips. So I haven't acetoned them. I mean, I have no sign, because there's like a texture under the paint. Jeremy's asking, would a UART survive an intentional short from VCC to ground? I don't know. Like, this is an actual ceramic chip. This is not repainted. Oh. It looks like these might be CMOS chips. Yeah, that's CMOS. This one's an 8250 CL, so that might actually be CMOS. 82C450. Yes, I know it has a bent leg. These are not ones I've inserted in the board. These are the ones I was going... Yeah, I know it's got a bent leg. These are not ones that I've bothered to straighten and put in yet. It's got 2 bent legs, actually. So, yeah. These ones I haven't tried yet. I'll straighten the leg before I try putting it in. So anyways, now I can just look at these chips and I can see they're... 8250C is the last revision. Yeah. Anyways, in channel. I don't know if they're in channel or P channel. You're asking questions. I don't know if you're asking a question. Anyways, I'm like, the thing is, without having another serial board to put one of these UARTs in and try, like one that I know that the pinout of the 10-pin connector is like correct. Or maybe it's just got an onboard DB9. Another serial card altogether, maybe one that's got a removable UART as it is, so that I can confirm that the card is working with the UART that's in it, and then put one of these in it and see what it does. That's really what I need to do to see if I've got good chips. Because the thing is, this is the only serial card I have, and yeah, it's possible that I did get the dud 1488 or 1489 from Mauser. Possible one of those chips is a dud. I mean, I did buy 2 of each. I could swap them, but not tonight. It is possible this card is misjumpered, although there is not an enabled disable for the COM ports. And Check It is seeing both COM ports, so I'm pretty sure I've got the card jumpered correctly. Because Check It can see that there are 2 COM ports when it scans the system. I mean, it is possible there's another chip. I mean, the card could be sus, yes. But there's no socketed chips on it for me to start to replace. I don't have schematics for it. I don't really want to go starting to just randomly desolder things. There's where I will start to pull out an oscilloscope. The thing is, if chips are in sockets, I'm going to probably swap the chip, because it's easy to swap it. If it's soldered, then I'll probably pull an oscilloscope out. But possibly not in an XT computer. I'll probably... Does the card have any blank socket? No, it had blank sockets, but... No, there's no switch settings on the motherboard for COM ports. So, no. The switch settings on the motherboard have nothing to do with COM ports, Jeremy. So, I know that without even having to look it up. Yeah, the jumpers, that's not what the switches do. The switches are for memory and number of floppy drives, but not COM ports. Thomas says some of the AST had a socket for a PAL. No, there are no empty sockets on this board now that I put a 1488 and a 1489 and a UART in it. There's not an empty PAL socket. Because there's the PAL and it's already populated. Yeah, and video card type, Jeremy, yes. But this is not a video card, so... I mean, this is what I'm working with, and I mean, sure, could there be a problem with this card? Yes, there could be, but there could also be a problem with these UARTs. I wish I had a retro chip tester, but they're so expensive. I just haven't... I've had other priorities. Because the retro chip tester is like $300 or $400. And quite honestly, at that point, I just buy it assembled, because at that point, I'd rather have someone build it and test it, because that's a lot of money to spend on a chip tester. Of course, I don't know if those can test UARTs. I would hope something that fancy could test one of these, but it might not be able to. No, I don't think there's any 12-volt shorts on the board, Thomas, but I mean, I'm getting tired here, and this is troubleshooting for another day. I am fairly sure there's no 12-volt shorts on this board, because A, the power supply is not going into short circuit protection mode, and B, there's... Well, I guess there maybe is one tantalum cap on it. Jeremy says the retro chip tester costs as much as my monthly mortgage payment. Yeah, I know. It's like one of those... It's... I mean, I know it can do a lot, but... Well... Just hasn't come up to the top of my list to buy. But anyways, yeah. I mean, yes, there could be something wrong with this card, but there could also be something wrong with the UARTs, because I remember they are from a lot of chips that I bought on eBay, and there is a reason why I call eBay the place where I buy the things I later regret. Because there are so many times where I've ended up buying garbage from eBay. And I hate to accuse eBay sellers of selling garbage, but there are times where I have realized that, and many times after it was too late to actually try a return, that they did sell garbage. And it is quite possible that I am now discovering, now that I have one serial card that can take UART chips, I may be realizing I bought a box of garbage. Thomas Armstrong says I paid $12 each for 8250 parts. I paid price redacted for the box of 160 ICs of various types, and I guess maybe I will spend $12 on an 8250 from a place that's got new old stock ones. Especially if I can find a place that also has 8087s, because I would like one for my IBM. But anyways, yeah, if I had a known working 8250, or if I could, I don't think I've got another serial card that can take 8250s. The problem is, I think my only other serial card with socketed UARTs needs 16550s, and there is a difference when you go from the 16450 to the 16550. I don't think, I don't know if an older UART would work in that card that takes 16550s. I would have to look and see. Christian asks, the IDC 10 connector, is it known if it has a standard serial pinout? Define standard serial pinout, because I think I've run across at least 3 of them. I mean, I would presume it's a standard serial pinout. And as far as I know, I have the original breakout cable for the board. I mean, could it actually be wrong? Sure. As far as I know, this is the original breakout cable for the board. When I bought this board, the breakout came with it. I am presuming it got pulled at the same time. It could be wrong. Sure. I could have the wrong breakout cable. There could be something wrong with my card. There could be something wrong with every single one of those UARTs in that box. It's getting late. I can't figure it out tonight. I will go digging through my box of serial cards. I will see if any of them by chance have socketed UARTs and I've forgotten about it. I don't really want to desolder this card unless I start to think I've got something bad on it, because it is somewhat of a more obscure card. They're not impossible to find, but they are difficult to find at reasonable prices. Because there are some that I see listed, and I think they've got an ASD6 pack. But anyways, if I can find another, I think I might have another serial card that might take 8250s. I'll have to look. Unfortunately, the one I know of right offhand that I think's got UART chips, it takes 16550s, and I think there is a difference between the 450 and the 550. I think there's some different signals on the 550 for DMA operation. So I don't know if I can just drop a 450 in and it will work. I mean, theoretically, it should work. You just wouldn't be able to use DMA, but I will have to look that up and confirm. If that is the case, then totally, when I come back to these UARTs, I will test that board, and then we'll swap UARTs on it. The clones are better. Yeah, Thomas says the clones are better. Anyways, yep. Anyways, I think that's where I'm going to end the stream. So, we've got upper memory. So, my upper memory card worked. I mean, of course, I knew the Tech Select memory card was going to work. We've got AdLib sound. I knew the Tech Select sound card worked because I pulled it out of one of my Emerson PCs. It's my XT Turbo clone, in fact. The XT CF Lite, I knew that one was going to work. Again, I got it from Tech Select. They make good stuff. I can recommend them. So they didn't sponsor the stream. I paid for all the boards. They make good stuff. That's why I buy things from them. And, I mean, at least my diagnostic kit loopback plugs work on the DB9 connector on the serial card, so there's that. So, all right, next week on Tuesday, we're going to be looking at the Sun Workstation. I have I've got the repair module for the NVRAM chip, and I would like to repair that so that I don't have to reprogram the data every time I power it up. And then I'd like to try upgrading the hard drive to a larger hard drive, because I'd like to be able to store multiple DOS images on it so that I can try various operating systems. Because those get large, and unlike modern VM software where they can do a lazy allocate, the Sun software has to allocate the entire image up front. It probably does that to make sure it's not fragmented. So maybe that's a good thing, but so you can get some really large images really fast for that thing. So I'd like to try to upgrade the hard drive. So that'll be Tuesday. Maybe we'll come back to the XT on Thursday, especially if I find that I've got some things we can troubleshoot. So I guess don't forget to smash that like button to let the YouTube algorithm know you like content like this. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next exciting live streams. So I should be on Dave's stream on Sunday, so at least you can catch me for a couple hours there. Who knows? Maybe on that stream I might be digging through the serial card box to see what I might have to test some of these potentially junk chips. Or I might try to test some of the other types of chips that were in the lot to see if I am noticing that they are also garbage. Because if I start testing some of those other chips and they're also garbage, that could add credence to my theory that it's possible I bought a box of garbage and those are like the UART rejects from someone. So there is that. So maybe I'll be digging through my controller box on Dave's stream to see what I might have that can be used to test UART chips independently of this card. So yeah, with that, I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for, I'm getting tired. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, being cool. Oh, hi Jack, welcome. Now I'm wrapping it up because yeah, he made it just in time to say goodnight. Yeah, because it is late. I'm actually streaming longer than I meant to. But anyways, so thanks for hanging out in the chat, being cool, providing moral support, ideas. We'll get both serial ports working on this computer somehow, even if I do have to start removing chips. But hopefully I'll find a way to be able to independently test some of these UARTs so that I can confirm that I didn't buy a box of garbage. I will check my Discord when I get a chance, Jeremy. Yeah, I see that I've got Discord messages. So Discord is tattling that I've got messages. I will try to do it later today because I am actually past midnight. So if you want me to do it tomorrow, it would be Saturday. I will actually try to do it later today, but after I've had a rest. Anyways, yeah. And with that, I guess, oh yeah, I guess one last announcement. Yep, you can check out the Coffee Goal links in the description for getting me to VCF East. So I don't have, I'm unfortunately on the wait list for exhibitor tables. I was not able to sign up soon enough. But even if I am walking around enjoying the exhibits and handing out buttons and stickers as a person on 2 feet, well, I would like to be there and still meet people and still hand out some channel swag. So, in fact, some of that goal money will be to make sure I have a nice assortment of buttons with me for when someone says, "Hey, Justin, I'd like a button." So anyways, with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, or night, or evening, or whatever it is in your time zone. I myself will be going upstairs and probably promptly jumping into bed because I am getting tired. So take care, and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time, and until then, take care!